Stephen!
Andrew!
Do you fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Absolutely. No.
Brilliant, Mr. Tumble!
Absolutely.
Cheese and crackers. Crackers and cheese.
I need to do that again. I don't know what happened.
Stephen!
Andrew.
Do you fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Absolutely.
So we're into the Understudy with our kind of look through the script books, peer into the onion.
Stop with whatever metaphors you're mixing now. Peering into an onion. Do you do that often? Just slice it in half on the chopping board and then peer at it. Tears streaming down your face. What are you doing? I'm peering into it. Don't do that. Don't try that at home.
No one ever peers into onions.
No, not without use of those amazing onion goggles. Ones that look like swimming goggles.
For peering into onions.
Yeah. People didn't buy them for that, but they definitely have that use.
And we've all, of course, bought the script book for the purpose of peering in to
an onion.
to the onion that is inside number 9. And
well rescued.
Yeah, the sort of cursory warning that if you've not listened to this podcast before, it's probably worth going and listening to our first kind of reaction episode of this before listening to this one, because we're kind of just diving into what we're noticing in the script books and reflecting on that rather than kind of going through the entire episode as we did before. So, yes. How do you want to set this one up, mate?
How do I want to set it up? Well, Spike's back. Spike has something for everything.
He's amazing. He's so versatile.
He does. This time, however, I've gone for a quote rather than a poem.
Oh.
Spike Milligan says, "I thought I'd begin by reading a poem by Shakespeare, but then I thought, why should I? He never reads any of mine."
Fair point.
Fair point. He's right. I mean, I feel like he's attributing some malice to Shakespeare that's not entirely Shakespeare's fault.
It may be, yeah. Yeah.
But then...
Maybe, does Shakespeare get a lot of things attributed to him that maybe either he didn't intend necessarily or wasn't his fault?
I don't know. I don't know if I've seen any of those, like those posters circulating on the internet with quotes like,
all the Einstein.
"Don't read everything. Don't believe everything you've read on the internet," attributed to Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Silly things like that. Most things that you hear attributed to Einstein aren't
Einstein. No.
No.
Now there's like a whole. It's as if there's a whole like fictitious character that is Einstein reimagined through memes, which is quite an interesting.
But not even memes. It's an entire inspirational poster culture.
Yeah.
Sprung up around things that Einstein apparently said. There's actually a fact-checking bot that will tell you whether something is actually Einstein or not.
Oh, really? Is that
if
like
you refer
the
a quote.
Alan Partridge or Richard Madeley?
I imagine so. Although probably not quite as difficult.
No.
Because they are.
Well, Richard Madeley's more Alan Partridge than Alan Partridge.
I think that happened. Like they reached like a singularity at some point.
Yeah. So obviously we're very much on topic so far.
The Understudy hasn't even had a look in.
No. So should we dive straight into International Backstage Corridor Night? Because it's a rare night.
It means whatever you want it to mean.
International Backstage Corridor Night.
You've just sort of glossed over Extra-National Theatre Night.
Yeah, I know, because I thought International Backstage Corridor Night was funnier.
You're not wrong.
Okay, let's go to the beginning.
Extra-National Theatre Night. I wondered I wondered about there's something about having like the quotes written down that makes me wonder a bit more about the significance of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this bit was chosen deliberately. I guess it's talking about him being crowned at the end.
So what's the quote?
And this and what needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time and place. So thanks to all at once and to each one whom we invite to see is crowned at Scone.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like scone, does it? On the
Scone.
Scone. Scoon. It's like scoon.
Scoon. It is scoon, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Scottish, isn't it?
Is that how is that how they pronounce scone? Lauren?
Lauren, how do you pronounce scone?
Scoon.
Scoons.
I think I prefer that anyway, to scone or scone.
Scoon.
Scoon.
See, maybe I might start doing that whenever anyone asks me.
How do you
pronounce scone or scone?
Scoon.
It's you're not putting the accents out there.
No, that was
the perfect opportunity.
I'm not. I'm just saying scoon. I'm not scrunching my face up like you just. Scoon.
So you couldn't resist. You couldn't resist.
Yeah. So
I guess it's the setup, isn't it? And at the end, the plan is to see him crowned at the end, and I guess that's his. Well, it's definitely Laura's plan.
Yeah. Who's the Laura?
Laura is his fiancée, isn't she?
Oh, Kirsty's the one who's done
the understudy.
Thing. Yeah.
Who is the understudy throughout the entire thing?
Yeah. The under. Yeah.
Where are you going with that? The under, yeah.
The under, yeah. The under. Yeah, so there's a big sort of setup into International Dressing Room Night for the kind of setting, which I realised I was reading while I was doing the rewatch. I was reading through that, and I was like, "Oh, I've missed half the program." I had to go back. It's very particular in terms of the look and
mirrors surrounded by bulbs and good luck cards, blue tacked around the edge.
Got to be blue tacked.
Specific, but not for comic effect.
No. Yeah, I mean, what were your main kind of things that you noticed?
I noticed a lot disappeared. Like chunks of stuff disappeared throughout the course of the episode. And in some ways it kind of changed some emphasis here and there. There were bits and pieces that I noticed that I hadn't noticed or first time round, or things that kind of took my attention. Like I loved Steve or Tony's actor look in the sweatshirt and the skinny scarf.
Yeah.
I thought it was superb. I hadn't really twigged before quite how good that was, but that was like, right, I'm going to dress as a thespian, offer a night out at the end of the show. I also twigged that there's this, when they've got this exchange about Tony having his voiceover work, and he's already told Jim that he's got the voiceover on Friday. And then there's the neighbours are there, Gene and Bill, who turn up to see it, and they invite him out, and he says he's got voiceover work as well. At that moment there, Jim knows full well that he's just been fobbed off. And in that moment, Tony has a decision to make about who he would rather spend time with less. And he goes with, he wants Jim gone.
Yeah.
And that is quite brutal, that his understudy is being fobbed off in favour of, because Jim knows at that point, Jim knows that he's using the voiceover as an excuse, and he watches him decide, no, you know what, I'm going to go out with my unbearable neighbours who I really have no interest in conversing with at all, rather than go the other way, which is, no, you're right. It is tonight. It's not Friday. Jim, I can come and see the Understudy play.
Yeah.
He really doesn't want to see that Understudy play.
I mean, he could have had 2 voiceover gigs.
He could.
Right?
Tampons and
Audiobooks.
Yes.
There's a nice little Chekhov's voiceover there, isn't there?
There is a Chekhov. Or
Chekhov's voice work.
Chekhov's voiceover comes in and says, "You see that gun there? That'll be relevant later."
Yeah.
Chekhov did well for
I noticed
voiceover
that
work.
I made another Chekhov note. Oh yeah, to do with the alcohol. Yeah. Chekhov's. That's a classic one though, isn't it? Chekhov's booze.
Chekhov's dagger. Chekhov's all over the place.
Yeah, he's there.
But I
He's
guess
everywhere.
that's theatre.
It's theatre for you.
There's also that, during that stuff around the discussion at the end of the show with the neighbours, the amazing pause after. There was a porter in this, wasn't there? I said to Bill, that should be you. Ha, good.
Yeah, I made a note of that. Pause.
So you enjoyed it
It's
then?
not in the script, is it? It's
No, it's
perfect.
so good.
Yeah. It's just so awkward. But like, yeah. I noticed because they'd Tony's, when he gets told there's visitors at stage door for Mr. Warner, and then he's like, oh shit. He says, I'd totally forgotten I've got friends in. They want to come round. That was dropped out of the script because it's like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's like the way he talks about them and kind of interacts with them is they're not friends at all, are they?
They're not at all.
They're
They just happen to
nuisances.
live next door to him.
Yeah.
Oh, one biggie from that section as well, actually. He says it's a tragedy. They're not supposed to enjoy it. Was swapped for it's Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's Shakespeare. They're not supposed to enjoy it. Yeah. Which
Interesting choice.
I think is a much better line.
It is, yeah. And I guess that is, as soon as it was said, they're like, you know what might be funnier here?
Yeah.
Go with Shakespeare.
Yeah. That's almost a dig at, like, have you ever been
It's
to
the
see
bleeding heart
it's
actors
and-
who are
but
like
also-
they suffer for their art.
I also see it's the kind of audience. I don't know if you've ever been to see a Shakespeare play.
No.
But so like because we're just up the road from Stratford, so yeah, I've been to a few, and it really irks me to be watching something, and because I've only been to see things that I actually like studied, because that's the only ones that I'll be able to understand. But
Give yourself some credit, mate. I'm sure you would be able to keep up.
it's Shakespeare. You're not supposed to enjoy it. But there's moments where, you know, especially if there's like comedy moments, which generally comedy moments, and it really annoys me because there's people who make a real concerted effort to laugh really like contrivedly, like in a way that is like, I understood that and I found that really funny. I understand Shakespeare. And yeah, it almost feels like a bit of a dig at the audience in that respect. Like, it's Shakespeare, you're not supposed to enjoy it. And you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to understand it, I think it's...
Although you may enjoy it if it says, fuck me, a ghost.
I love that. It's so funny.
Is this a dildo I see before me? Fuck me, a ghost.
It's one of the funniest little exchanges in all of Inside Number 9, I think, actually. And the way that
I think
Steve kind of hams up that character is so good.
But that's the other thing, I guess, is that Shakespeare is held in this regard that you couldn't dare mess with it and say
way.
things like, fuck me, a ghost.
Banquo, fuck me, a ghost. Yeah. I really like the in the exchange with Jean and Billy Jean. When Jean says they're talking about Doc Martin and Malcolm. We liked Malcolm, didn't we? You've seen him in that program. What was it? Doc Martin. That's it. He likes it for the Cornwall. The idea of the Cornwall. He loves the Cornwall.
He loves the Cornwall. That's what he's here for.
Yeah, it's a nice little use of the. It's a bit like the YouTube in
The
Gavin and Stacey.
The World Wide Web.
The Adam Curtis calling Pink Floyd the Pink Floyd,
The Pink.
which then because who was he talking to? Was he on? Might have been talking to Mark Kermode and Simon Mayo. Was it that one? And they were like, I like the way you've called them the Pink Floyd, and then he was saying that's what they used to be called. I was like researching. I can't find anything to say that was what they were originally called.
And what we've learned here is that Adam Curtis can say anything, and you will head down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was 2 days I spent trying to work out if Pink Floyd used to be called.
That's what he's
the
doing.
Pink Floyd.
I didn't sleep. I didn't eat.
But I kind of like that. I like the Pink. The Pink Floyd sounds more kind of mysterious and interesting than Pink Floyd, because it's like as if there is a Pink Floyd. What is it? Is it
just the one Pink Floyd?
Who is Pink?
Not just
who is the Pink Floyd?
Not just a Floyd that happens to be pink.
No, he's the Pink Floyd.
Pink and the Floyds.
Oh, I'm the Pink Floyd. I like that. Anyway, I think we've veered off.
Tangent.
We didn't talk about this in the original one, did we?
I don't think so.
That's cool.
Tell us. Write to us. Tell us if we spoke about Pink Floyd first time round and Adam Curtis.
Where are we? International Dressing Room Day. Should we go there?
International Dressing Room Day. Is this where they decided to, when they're having these little flash back forward things, I noticed that they seem to go from just having the bulbs flashing a bit to it seeming like there's actually a storm going on. It's a lot more or less bulbs flashing than lightning.
Yeah, and like
thunder.
cracks of thunder as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't just a bulb flash, it was like a storm is coming.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And is it the same shot as when he is then Macbeth later on?
I don't know, actually.
Because it says, I think it's
later.
It says later on. Yeah, it's
the same shot as.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, to save time, it would make sense to just take a shot from later and stick it in the mirror.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Laura leaves. Jim looks at himself in the mirror. It is the same image he saw reflected at the end of Act 1. Over the tannoy, we hear a distorted witch-like voice. Oh, so that's that bit. Yeah.
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 One of my other favourite lines from the show is in this next section with Julia Davis doing her amazing stage manager thing. We're not the SS. Speak for yourself, darling.
Yeah.
One of my favourite lines. There's also a weird little direction on there where it says that she comes in and checks the bulbs.
Yes, I know.
One of them's out, and there wasn't a bulb out.
No.
Was it harder to find to have a broken bulb? Which it probably is. You'd have to somehow blow a bulb. How do you purposefully blow a bulb?
I don't know.
I think that would be more difficult than just going, no, they're all fine.
It's an interesting little detail.
Especially when it's missed.
Yeah. So they've included it in the script. It would be... it feels like something
relevance.
of no consequence at all, and yet it's there. When she finds one that isn't working, she makes a note of it. I suppose
it's just showing her being thorough, I guess.
Yeah, attention to detail, SS style.
Yeah,
but yeah,
this is where there's a big cut of stuff.
Massive, yeah,
and. It's quite an interesting cut, and I don't know whether it was because it was a bit on the nose, and they felt like it was just spoofing. There was no need to have it so obvious.
Yeah.
But Felicity says your Lady Macbeth frock is being pressed. And then we have. Oh, for a start, it's the you can't blame a girl for trying. You're not supposed to say that. And that went, and I thought that was interesting that they almost dropped her calling out the harassment.
Yeah. But then you're not supposed to say that. Was that referring to Macbeth?
Yeah, that was what she was actually referring to, but it feels like she was calling out.
It's almost like a doublon.
A doublon.
A doublon.
shorten that to a doublon. I mean the M word. You're not supposed to say it in the dressing room. What, Macbeth? Yes, it brings bad luck. To who? I don't know the production. Actors, you make me laugh. Macbeth. See, I'm still here.
Yeah, I thought my initial impression reading that was that's a little bit spoon-feedy, and she would know that because as a
stage manager of the Scottish play.
Exactly, everybody knows that kind of the superstitions around the Scottish play.
But you'd also have thought that the person making the announcement later on in the episode would know that as well. Yeah. Do they?
I don't know.
I mean, is it ever mentioned, even when it's very obvious?
Well, I'd probably mention it if I was, because I went for a walk earlier and I made a point of walking out. 3 drains.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm walking over.
I go around them. Oh, do you? I go around them. I don't know why.
You go around? No, because
I'm not in any way superstitious.
I remember.
If anything, I'm understitious. Understitious. I don't know what the opposite of superstitious is. Can you just be stitious?
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Stitious.
You can be
understitious, stitious, or superstitious.
How stitious are you? Take this
on a scale of 1 to 10.
BuzzFeed quiz. What level of stitious are you?
9. You're superstitious.
You're completely understitious. You need to up
You're
your
superstitious.
Stitiosity.
You see a black cat walk across your path. Don't walk under a ladder. Who walks under a ladder? I mean, that's not walking under a ladder. Refusing to walk under a ladder, I think, is just basic safety.
Well, that's what I was thinking when I was walking over these drains earlier. I was like, do you know what? Actually, if one of these was loose, like it's a like sensible thing not to do is to walk on a drain just in case you fall into a sewer, like, and that would be bad luck.
I think so, but the thing is that I think that one isn't particularly prescriptive about the possible consequences, whereas don't step on the crack or you'll break your back is very, very specific and very unlikely.
Yeah.
I don't see how the two of those are linked.
Unless the crack got really big and someone broke their back. And then...
If you happen to live on a fault line, don't step on a crack.
During an earthquake.
During an earthquake, you might fall in and breaking your back may be one of the consequences.
Scald your face. On lava.
Is that what happened? Do you just imagine that these cracks opening up and they're just being magma at the bottom of them?
I've played like computer games.
You play Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, I know how.
I've been on Marble Zone.
I just remember like it was when we were at university walking with somebody and I just walked over.
Don't jump out a window, you might break your ankle.
Yeah, that's true. I walked over 3 drains and they were like, what are you doing? I was like, what?
I mean, that's quite an extreme reaction. It was. Someone else doing it.
I got she really told me off. And I was like, what? And I'd never heard of it as a superstition. I was like, okay, fair enough. And then I've made a point of walking over them ever since.
Calling out, just to be contrary.
I mean, I don't know how you can measure the impact of that anyway. Like,
I feel like calling out other people's behaviour around that's ultrastitious. That's going beyond even superstitious. Suprastitious.
Yeah.
Well, suspicious. The suspicious, superstitious. It rhymes. It sounds similar. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So I would
There's our take
would
on
say
superstition.
I wouldn't have a problem saying Macbeth.
If you have any
Or good luck.
superstitions, get in touch. Yeah, don't say good luck.
I mean, if Good Luck Jonathan was an actor,
Good luck, Jonathan, to the stage.
he's playing Macbeth.
Don't say good luck.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like we've tangentialized a few times tonight.
You could draw your own conclusions that a lot of all the terrible things that then happen are down to that mention of Macbeth without it being really thrown in your face and shoved down your throat that that's what might be happening. But then maybe suggest that most of the bad things that have ever happened during productions of Macbeth in reality are all down to naked ambition and sabotage.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as bad luck. There's bad people.
That's a good point. Yeah. And I was looking at kind of the end of it again and thinking, I know we're sort of jumping ahead there, but
that's fine, you jump.
Like when Jim finds out, because he's got this picture in his head of that Laura's done all of this stuff, and actually he's kind of broken off ties with her as well, because he obviously doesn't know that she's killed herself, but he doesn't know like their relationship's just kind of completely ended.
But yet we don't know the story behind that happening, but he's sort of has enough thoughts about what went on to be able to jump straight to, she killed herself because of
the guilt of
what she did.
Yeah. And he
makes that link.
He fully believes
quickly,
that she did it for him. I don't know whether he's created the story in his head that she did it for him because of her own ambition, because she wanted him to earn more money and all of that stuff, which he may well have done. But then he can't live with the guilt of that. So as that relationship, he's, like there's the exchange with her when he basically tells her to leave him alone.
Especially when she can't go with him because she's still an understudy.
Yeah. And
the cast don't mix with the understudies.
No. Joe Allen. Even as a Stoke player.
You can't go to... You can't as an understudy go to Joe Allen's in good conscience.
No.
That's what I've learned from this.
No, exactly.
But I think that's kind of... She would know that. She would know that probably, and she would probably have seen that before, where if someone is elevated to main cast, that it kind of suggests that there's a bit of a flaw in her motivation, in that if she were to get him bumped up rather than put all her energies into getting herself bumped up, she was going to be left behind because understudies don't ride on the coattails of the main cast.
No.
Seems to be the message there of, yep, I'm main cast. Well done.
Yeah.
Don't think you're getting anything out of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. But you're made to, like, it's obviously the kind of the misdirection.
The whole Macbeth narrative. Yeah, the whole Macbeth narrative is the controlling wife, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah. There was another. So we're nearly at the amazing, the amazing exchange, which when he's obviously drunk pure alcohol in his green drink, starts with him coming off the voiceover of him boring. Why don't you fuck off back to Cornwall and do some more Doc Martens, you hateful little prick. And then there's a little dropped bit of dialogue here.
Is it the
Is your name Kirsty?
Your name Kirsty?
Yeah, which is actually quite funny.
Just after he said, which, by the way, Kirsty, is how he got the part in the first place.
Is your name Kirsty? Yes. Have I always known that? Yes. Amazing.
Amazing.
I can imagine that Steve Pemberton would have delivered that line in an incredible way. But
we also get Tony drinks from his water bottle. It's not a water bottle. What in God's name is going on? I don't know. I've just had to issue 8 refunds because Macbeth vomited on stage and said, "Is this a dildo I see before me?"
he vomited on stage.
He's not well. He's pissed. Give me that bottle, Tony. Juice. Give it to me. Jesus Christ, that's 2/3 vodka. So what? No wonder when Banquo came on, he said, "Fuck me, there's a ghost." I thought he was on the wagon.
I love it.
I love it.
So, and then his horrific delivery of that line. I bet you've got a nice little pair of.
And then they switch her line. They drop the. It's not. Actors, nothing but trouble. She doesn't say that. She says bloody turns.
Yeah,
or something. Is it turns?
That's what I thought. Yeah, is
she Australian? Is she supposed to be Australian?
I think she is Australian, isn't she?
I think that's what her character is.
But what's turns? Is that like slang for actors?
I don't know. I'm trying to find out. I don't think it is. If you're Australian and you know, or if you're not Australian and you know, tell us. No, I don't know. No.
Weird.
Mystery.
So yeah, I don't know what.
There's also in this little section she doesn't offer the opportunity for Jim to be on book.
No, I noticed that. Yeah.
So it is all or nothing.
Yeah.
As filmed, it's get on stage and do the whole thing, which he's really nervous about. Or here, that might have made it a little easier for him. But no, on book if you have to is dropped.
Yeah, because I imagine because the facade of Jim is that's not actually his main concern. Like it wouldn't be in that case, yes, I'll do it. Like, I think he just doesn't want to do it. Full stop.
Well, we also see him when he's running lines and things that he's making mistakes.
Yeah.
During the episode, when there are these little sections where he's running lines with Laura and things like that, he is making errors. So he's not perfectly ready to go on this either, and he probably does have a certain amount of self-doubt. And he has an exchange with Laura here where she's basically saying, "Get on, now," and she says it's on a plate for you in the script.
Yeah, that's taken off, isn't it?
And they took that off, and again, I don't know whether that's just a bit too in your face.
Yeah,
it's on a plate for you. Do it. No, you don't. It doesn't need to be there, does it?
Yeah, this is your chance. It's on a plate for you. All you have to do is take it.
Yeah. Unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then Tony goes back on stage, has a horrible accident.
Horrific accident, yeah.
It's pretty dreadful. Worse than I think they initially wrote it as, based on some of the directions in the later scene with Tony. Where it's
he can still wheel himself,
he's
can't he?
wheeling himself, whereas in the filmed he doesn't even have that capability, and Jim's assistant has to do that for him.
Yeah,
which is quite brutal, really.
It's his sort of shout of "wagons roll" is more of a because in the script it's like making a comment about what he's doing. It's like he's wheeling himself away, just shouting "wagons roll," but actually it's a command to his
Come and help
carer.
me.
Yeah, I need my wagon to roll, please. Yeah,
So it's worse.
it is worse. Yeah. Do we know what the engagement ring thing where she takes it off and puts it on the table? And I was trying to find any sort of reference to that. I didn't try very hard, but I couldn't.
Well, she.
Because it feels like a significant thing. She takes it off, and then
she goes to take it off, but then she puts it back on, doesn't she?
She takes it
earlier on.
Yeah, she takes it off, puts it on the table, and then there's the thing where there's the incident with Tony.
Yeah,
and then she puts it back on after that happens. I think. Does she go to the? She goes to the shower curtain.
I mean, she puts it back on because she thinks that her potential route to money and success is
that all it
on
is?
Now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a case of she thought it had all gone wrong because Jim had bottled it and hadn't sort of forced his way on stage. But then the accident happens, and so he's good to go on, and so things are back on track as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was any kind of reference to some sort of superstition with rings or whatnot, but no.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess the ring is very important at the end with creepy Kirsty.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. Ooh. It's a bit odd.
Yeah. Yeah, and this, I guess that we're headed towards the end of things.
Mm.
Now we get the stage manager, as we said earlier, just using Macbeth again with reckless abandon. It doesn't appear to make anything dreadful happen in terms of the show, although it does happen just as we hear the dreadful events at the very end.
Yeah.
We're given the line in the speaker at this point.
Oh yeah, where's that?
So we get the voiceover, ladies and gentlemen of the Macbeth Company. This is your half-hour call. That's what I mean. Is it possible to run a production without mentioning the name of the production? Do they, or do they just go, "No, this is ridiculous. We need to crack on"? Ladies and gentlemen of the Macbeth Company, get on stage.
I suppose, ladies and gentlemen of the
Scottish Play Company,
the company of the play that we're doing constantly at the moment in this theatre.
you know the one.
Are.
I'm not going to say it. Some of you get a bit funny when I do. Laura leaves. Jim sees himself in the mirror. It's the same image he saw reflected at the end of Act 1. Over the tannoy, we hear a distorted witch-like voice. And I remember when we first went through this, we didn't really have a clue. And to be perfectly honest with you, even with it written down here, I could barely pick it out. All hail Macbeth, thou shalt be king hereafter.
Yeah.
And that's where things have worked out for him.
Indeed they have.
But at what cost?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so then the
ability of Tony to move his legs, apparently.
Yeah. And later on, we realise the death of Laura, which is what Kirsty says is the cost that Jim has to pay, which he didn't necessarily believe he had to account for, but
no,
she does. She thinks he does.
But he gets to play Dick the Shit.
Yeah.
So, which, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I don't want to probe too deeply into that one. Especially on International Backstage Corridor night. Sorry, where are we?
This is where it's my page 167, but I don't know what your page is.
108.
So this is now we're back at International Dressing Room Day, which seems to have been going on for ages. Maybe it's the following year because there's one every year, and he's got meet and greets with the disabled that he's not particularly happy about. But then in is pushed Tony,
who is in fact the only person he's got a meet and greet.
Yeah. And like I said, Tony is in a worse state than the script kind of leads us to think at this point.
It feels sad that Tony is brought in as a, like that kind of anonymous charity case, really. Like,
yeah.
It's like, no, Tony's here to see you. You know, Tony.
Yeah, just say Tony. It doesn't have to be, an anonymous person on, not my words, a crip trip. A line which is in the episode, is in the script, and is still horrible.
I don't think I must have blocked it out watching it every time I watched
horrible.
It. Because it was only because I read it in the script. I was like, they've cut that out because I don't remember.
They haven't,
and they hadn't.
It's there. Although someone's probably now going to send back to us a clip of us talking about the phrase "crip trip."
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we noticed it very, very vividly the first time.
Yeah.
We can be, held to account for previous words now. Onion words.
I hadn't twigged during this scene with Kirsty that she's now dressing like Laura.
No.
Hadn't twigged that until it was made explicit to me in black and white. Also, Tony doesn't refer to the ex-girlfriend as the blonde piece.
No.
Which led me to wonder whether they had someone else in mind entirely before they started filming this. Because Laura is not blonde.
Yeah, I didn't even think that when I was just like, oh, they've cut out the very derogatory objectification of Laura. But then it was like, no, she isn't actually blonde. So, yeah.
But you're right. It would,
because they changed it to the pretty one.
It's a bit out of character for Tony at this stage now. Tony, isn't it? It wouldn't have been original Tony.
Yeah. Drunk Tony, for sure.
Not new Tony, who is now reading audiobooks.
Yeah, learning about the EU.
That's not in here anyway. That's not in the script. Anyway, there's nothing about an audiobook about everything to know about the EU. Where's that come from? Where's that?
Exactly.
Just made it up.
I wonder whether that was an ad lib as they were going, or maybe he just dropped it in at some point and they were like, no, you've got to say that.
It's good, very specific.
It does work. Specific. Exactly, it does work so perfectly. Yeah, as a Garibaldi.
There's no Chekhov's mention of a supranational organisation anywhere earlier in the script, is there, that's pointing us towards that? I guess just the voiceovers, like you said earlier.
Yeah, it's the voiceovers, isn't it? Yeah, superstitions.
I said supra more times in this podcast than I've ever said.
It shouldn't be a word. Like, it doesn't feel like a natural word, does it? Supra.
It just sounds like you've got something wrong.
Yeah.
No, it's pronounced super.
Exactly.
Is this like when Americans spell meter ER and we spell it RE? Mitra.
Mitra. Supra.
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 That's supra.
Yeah.
Oh, Laura also loses a quote.
What?
The one about being some people are born great.
Kirsty,
sorry, yeah.
Some people are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them.
Yeah, they lose that. I don't know whether is that a quote from.
Yeah, it's from Twelfth Night. Is it?
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
They actually lost a bit of.
No, it's
a bit
not
of Shakespeare.
from Twelfth Night. It is from Shakespeare. I can't remember what it's from. Some people.
I'll find out.
Great, some.
I feel like searching this is better for me and my cultural knowledge than googling Chumbawamba that was earlier.
Yeah, that's how this evening started.
Some people are born. Some people are born great, like Albert Einstein. That was not.
This is an Einstein quote, of course. Yeah.
I don't know where it's from.
There are people like screaming right now as they're walking around listening to this.
It's like when I was listening to your podcast shouting, "They're paleontologists. They are paleontologists." That's a deep cut reference for.
Really deep cut.
Yeah, it's 12th Night.
Is it?
Good knowledge, mate.
Cheers, man.
I mean, bad knowledge in that you corrected yourself and said it wasn't.
Well, then, do you know? I thought, no, am I thinking of "If music be the food of love, play on"? And that's a very different quote.
Where's that from?
12th Night.
Einstein.
12th Night.
Einstein said, "Insanity is playing the music of love over and over again and expecting to have different results."
Cool. Yeah. Good. Shakespeare knowledge. Yeah, but I think if that felt a bit superfluous anyway, because she says I always
superfluous.
I always knew you'd go far. You just needed a little push, and then that's when she says it in the script.
It's enough, isn't it?
I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, because it's almost explaining too much.
Extraneous Shakespeare.
Yeah, and then Jim's like, "Sorry, what do you mean?" And that's about that. Yeah, I suppose. Sorry, what do you mean? In reference to Shakespeare or in reference to the little push? And actually, if he's saying it in reference to Shakespeare, it might be apt because maybe he isn't as Shakespearean a thespian as Tony, or as he should be. I don't know.
As Shakespearean thespian, as he should be. As thespianical. I don't.
Shakespearean thespianical.
Maybe.
Thespianically Shakespeare. Real Shakespearean. Thespianically Shakespearean as he should be.
It would have been. It was just too much Shakespeare.
Yeah, exactly.
Super Shakespeare.
No, and I mean Jim. I don't think Jim knows his Shakespeare that much anyway.
Maybe enough. Well, he's done all right.
It's that bit where where he's practicing his.
It feels weird that he's trying various different sort of dictions and intonations and ways of saying a phrase that he's probably about to go on stage and perform. You'd have thought he'd sort of nailed that by this point.
But and with his practice, because he doesn't have the kind of the dominant boom that he's supposed to have, and
it also feels quite affected when he does that last one. Have you ever seen that episode of Frasier where Frasier's built up the actor in his head as this incredible Shakespearean actor who I think it's Derek Jacobi plays him, and he's just over the top and hams everything. And so having initially gone to him and said, I just remember your work. You're so incredible. You are absolutely amazing. And then they sit down to watch him perform and it's excruciating and dreadful. Every line is delivered like that. Maybe like that.
Yeah, no, it's like that.
Hammy.
What's the reference to Derek Jacobi in this?
Oh, there was one.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
This Jacobi, was it near the beginning?
I've only just noticed the Felicity entering direction. Did you see that? The company manager, Felicity, enters. She's a black-clad, butch Australian lesbian. So there's the answer to your question.
She's Australian. She's black clad. See, I
That's
hadn't
a
realised.
strange description, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing. I hadn't realised quite the extent to which there's like a bit of a thing with Julia Davis overlapping into like the League of Gentlemen and Inside Number 9 sort of fan groups.
Right.
There seems to be a real enjoyment of Julia Davis.
Okay.
And I do wonder if it's kind of a sort of a, right, Julia, we've written you apart. We're going to have some fun with it. You're a butch, black-clad Australian lesbian.
Too easy, mate.
Exactly. They love the phrase too easy.
Yeah.
We were in a restaurant ordering stuff, and everything we said, the guy said, too easy.
Oh, better up the challenge.
After a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'll have that without...
I'd like the pizza without the base.
Without any salt.
Good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. That's too hard, mate.
Oh, that's the correct level of challenge, mate.
It reminds me of... have you seen that Louis Theroux with... it's like the self-development one in Las Vegas. And there's the guy... what's his name?
I must have done, but I don't remember it.
And everything's... They don't say no problem. They say no challenge.
No challenge. Oh, yes.
No challenge.
Yeah. No challenge.
It's like that. It's like, really? Like you're basically saying the same thing underneath. You've just changed the word.
To be honest, ironically, it makes it feel like a challenge to me.
Yeah.
To make it harder.
Exactly. Too easy. Challenge accepted to create
yes,
more of a
is.
challenge. No worries.
This was a tangent I did not expect.
Yeah, I'm just filling the air while looking for the Derek Jacobi. But
I think what you've done there though is you've created a too interesting a tangent that you've been absorbed into.
I haven't been looking. I've been thinking about Louis Theroux, Adam Curtis, black clad.
No, the fight director's been hospitalised. Apparently, Derek Jacobi caught him in the ghoulies with a nunchuck.
It was worth
very
it.
specific.
It's worth it in the end.
Don't remember that in the Merry Wives of Windsor, but there you go. And that was a Felicity line as well, and I didn't deliver it in an Australian accent. So, small mercies for all of us.
Too easy. Cool. Well, I don't really have anything else to say. Do you?
I don't think so. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this. It's been good. Been a little journey.
I don't know if anyone else has. I have.
Do we do our customary apology at the end of the?
It's up to you, mate.
I don't feel like that we need to apologise for this one.
I don't think we need to apologise for anything.
I've enjoyed myself. If anybody has anything they'd like to add,
that they feel like we should apologise for,
please let us know. A Quiet Night Inside 09 at gmail.com or on Twitter at AQNIN9. And what was the thing we need? It was the turns is the big question.
Turns.
Mark.
Do Australians call actors turns?
And if not, what does that line mean? There's your little...
See, I'd understand it if maybe he was some sort of thespian turned TV actor and that had kind of made him too big for his boots or something. But
speaking of boots,
that's the case.
Why were Jim's boots not... Where were they? You know, because he's like, can you get me one of those juice drinks like you used to get for Tony? And also, where are my boots? And then she's like, oh yeah, I'll go and get them. Like, where are they?
I don't know. Well, she's in charge of wardrobe, isn't she?
Yeah, but...
So maybe she bought... Well, yeah, but she brings in the costumes and hangs them on the rail ready to be worn, hasn't they? She'd forgotten the boots.
Oh, so like his costume boots rather than just like everyday boots.
Like a branch of the pharmacy.
I don't know. So if you know where Jim's boots were... Cool. No, this has been fun. Cheers, mate.
No worries.
Really enjoyed it.
Too easy.
Too easy, mate. Well, have a good week, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.